Okay, this is the final video, the level 4 video on learning dimensional analysis tutorial series. So in level 4, we are going to deal with a quite complicated kind of dimensional analysis. And let's look at the problem first. Okay, so we have a car has a fuel economy of 30 miles per gallon of gasoline. The gasoline price at London it's 1.3 pounds per liter. If you are going to drive 25 kilometers, how much do you have to pay in US dollars? Okay, the currency exchange rate is 1 pound to $1.25 US dollar, $1.25. And on the right upper corner, you also have some given information. You have 1 gallon is to 3.785 liters, and 1 mile it's 1.61 kilometers. Okay. So where do we start? Okay, students often ask this question: where do we start? They are often overwhelmed by the sheer amount of information in this question. And this is again the reason why we learn how to analyze dimension. And let's take a look at the dimensions. And let's start from the first sentence. We can see actually let's start from the question. Okay, the question asks for the how much do you have to pay? So you are looking at a currency. Okay, so you know we are going to have some kind of dollars at the end. As we said in the previous levels, if you are asked with a single dimension as the answer, you will start with a single dimension. Okay, so keep that in mind. If you end with one dimension, you start with one dimension. So what are the steps? Okay, so let's take a look at our analysis. So first, it is very important that you spot out the conversion factors. Okay, now we have the given ones on the right upper corner, but there are ones in the sentences as well, but they do not show you in the form of equation. There's no equal sign, so you have to spot out the conversion factors for yourself. So I highlighted these for you. And how do you know that these are conversion factors? One clear characteristic of conversion factor is that they often have multiple dimensions. So if you look at the 30 miles per gallon, you have the length and volume together. Okay, you have the miles as a length and the gallon as a volume. Okay, you look at the 1.3 pounds per liter, you have currency and you have volume as the two dimensions. And you have the conversion rate, the exchange rate. You have the currency and currency. One is in pounds, and the other one is in US dollars. Okay, so these are your conversion factors. So those are the ones we'll put in the middle. Okay, and then you look at, we will start with one dimension, right? So what value in the question that has only one single dimension? Okay, so right here you have the 25 kilometers. That's just length. Right? So that means we will start with length and we will end with currency. But what about the middle part? Okay, so now you are like playing dominoes. Okay, how you match with the how would you match with the dimensions? So first, take a look. Which conversion factor has length in it? And you can see the first one, the top one, 30 miles per gallon of gasoline, that has a length in there. So that's how we're going to place our first conversion factor and we look at it from a dimension point of view. So you're going to go from length to volume. Okay, and then where do we go from volume? Well, we need to go from volume to currency, right? We want to get currency, and hey, that's one. That's 1.3 pounds per liter. So that means we can do this, okay? And the numerator, the currency, will be in pounds, but we want to get the currency in US dollars. So we use another conversion factor, which is the last one in the question. So we have the currency in pounds to currency in US dollars. Okay, so then all right, that's how we're gonna think about the whole conversion. Okay, if you don't do this step, you would be pretty confused. Okay. Now, at the very beginning, as a new learner, you might want to write it out. If you are more experienced, you will be able to picture all these in your mind, which would be something I prefer my students to do. So get more practice, and then you can be more familiar with all this setup. So now we have the conceptual understanding of dimensional analysis right here in front of you. So now let's go ahead and set it up. So we draw a long line, and then we say, all right, we're going to start with 25 kilometers because we knew that it is going to be, it's going to start with length. And we said that we're going to use the one with 30 miles per gallon, right? But as we said in the level 2 video, you got to make sure that the units would match, even though they're both in the dimension of length. So this is the reason why we are going to change the kilometers into miles, so that we can use our conversion factor up there. So we change it to miles. Okay, we put the 1.61 kilometers in the denominator, and we put the 1 mile in the numerator. Okay, and then we can use our gas economy, like the conversion factor, 30 miles per gallon. Okay, and like I said in level 2 video earlier, the way we arrange it, it's by looking at what we need from the calculation. Despite it sets 30 miles per gallon, we are going to put 1 gallon in the numerator and 30 miles in the denominator. So if you're a little bit confused, you may want to check out my intro video. Okay, you can look at the look at the description and click the link right there. Okay, so we now have gallon, we have volume. Okay, so we can now use the we would now consider the use of the next conversion factor, which is the one with the volume and currency, the 1.3 pounds per liter. But that's in liters, and now we have gallons. Well, what do? Well, we need to change the gallons to liters, and that's why we put 1 gallon in the denominator and 3.785 liters in the numerator. Okay, so that we can have liters, and now we can use the 1.3 pounds per liter. Okay, so if you do everything right so far, we'll get the answer in pounds, but we want it in US dollars, and that is the reason why we will place our final conversion factor right there. It's 1 pound in the denominator, and then 1.25 US dollars in the numerator. Okay. So if you do everything correctly, you should be able to check with your units. Okay, so how do you know if you're correct? So let's go ahead and show our unit cancellation. So again, right here, kilometer in the numerator, kilometer in the denominator, they will divide each other out, so they're canceled. So we just cross it out. Miles will get canceled out. The gallons will get canceled out. The liters will get canceled out. The pound sign will get canceled out. So we are left with US dollar, and that's exactly what we want in our calculation. So with that, we are very happy, and we can use our calculator. We can input our numbers into our calculator. Now, if you don't write the units, it's going to be very difficult. Okay, you cannot check your work, so please write units. Okay, so let's go ahead and put all the numbers into our calculator. So we have 225 times 3 times 1.3 times 1.25. Now, don't worry about the ones, because it's not going to change the answer. Anything multiplies by 1 is still itself. Okay, so there's no point of typing it 1 as we do our input, calculator input. And then again, like I said before, in level 2, when you divide numbers in the denominator, make sure that you put a pair of parentheses around the numbers in the denominator. So you have 1.61 in the denominator, you have 30 in the denominator. So they would multiply together, but make sure you put them inside the pair of parentheses. Okay. So with that, we can go ahead and calculate, just to make sure you, again, put parentheses right in the denominator. So if we type it in, and you will get 3.18355. That would be the answer in US dollars. And since we have two significant figures in the 25 kilometers, we will write out our answer with two significant figures. So we just say $3.2, 3.2 US dollars. Okay, so again, make sure that you will write the units. Make sure when you type into your calculator, you put parentheses in the for the numbers in the denominator. Okay, so let's do a quick review. Okay, I hope you watched all the videos so far in the tutorial series. So I hope at this point you are able to explain a little bit on the difference between dimension and units. They are two different things. Okay, dimension is like length, time, volume, area, and units are they are used to describe the dimension. So length, you have inches, you have centimeters, you have millimeters, you have kilometers, and so forth. Okay. Make sure you're able to tell the dimension based on the unit. That will be crucial in your success. Okay. And why do we care about dimension? Because as we go forward in chemistry and also in physics, you will look at different kind of dimensions. And it will be very crucial that you have a clear understanding of what dimension is so that you can calculate the numbers properly and you are able to check your answer properly. Okay, so very important in chemistry, in physics, in further career. I know that for pharmacists, they need to know how to do dimensional analysis when they do the medicines. Okay, how many days you have to take your medicines, then how many pills per day. So that's the same kind of dimensional analysis they have to do. Same thing with nurses. Okay, so for nurses, they have to calculate your body mass, and then they will have to maybe they have to inject some medicine into your bloodstream using syringes. So they have to use dimensional analysis as well. So please take a good moment, master the skill, and I hope you will you have a good success in dimensional analysis. So as you work on examples, please observe your thought process. Okay, it will be great if you can speak out loud. Okay, when you are home doing practices, and as you do it more often, you should also be able to speak out loud mentally. Okay, without you moving your mouth. So make sure you listen to your own voice. How are you analyzing? And remember, we are doing dimensional analysis, so we should have a key focus on dimensional on dimensions. Okay, if you don't understand what a dimension is, then I'm going to bet that you have a quite difficult time understanding dimensional analysis. All right, that's it. That's the conclusion of the tutorial series. If you have any question, feel free to leave a comment, and if you like the video, please subscribe. All right, so hope you have a great journey in physics, chemistry, or any endeavor that you are on right now and that requires you to do dimensional analysis. All right, see ya.